It says, regarding life together and getting along with each other, which is, guess what, guys? Dating. That is life, getting along together. Let me tell you, relationships, dating relationships, it's about getting along with one another. If you sit there dating somebody who's just so hot and yet you can't get along, guess what? That's lust. Okay? Okay? That's not a relationship. Relationship cannot be just based on looks. You have to learn to get along with the person that you're with. If you can't get along with that person, you're going to be pretty miserable. And sometimes you just have to let things go. But when we enter these relationships, it says, and getting along with each other, you don't need to tell me, I don't need to tell you, you don't need me to tell you what to do. You're God taught in these matters. Just love one another. In other words, if I can borrow my phrases from my brother from another mother, can't we all just get along? The idea of just understanding that God has called us to get along. But the first thing that we have to understand, and the key to making relationships last a lifetime, is number one, compassion. Compassion. We have to understand that this is life together. Compassion. Now understand, this is compassion, not passion. Okay? There's a big difference. We talked about that in week 2. Passion is something that married couples ought to experience. Not dating couples should experience passion. It is not passion, but compassion. Understand, compassion is sympathy for the suffering of others and often including desire to help. Far too many times relationships fail because we have a me first mentality. Far too many times we have this me first mentality, like, well look, I'm the one that really matters in this relationship. You don't. Or, if I have a bad day, you better make sure that my feet are rubbed down and that you console me and help me get through my day. But if you have a bad day, cowboy up and suck it up and go on with life because, tomorrow the sun will shine again. No, guys, understand. Compassion is about... It is about putting someone before yourself regardless of your own situation. That is what compassion is. If you want your relationships to last longer than the month or the 2 months or the 3 months, you have to have compassion for one another. You have to make sure that the compassion is equally balanced. It can't be a one-way street. Say, well, that's just not my makeup. That's not my personality. Look. It's Christ's personality. In Ephesians 5:1, it says we are supposed to be imitators of Christ as dearly loved children. That we are supposed to, write that verse down. I didn't write that down for you. Ephesians 5:1 says, as dearly beloved children, let us imitate Christ. Let us imitate Him. And let us imitate what He is doing in our lives. So we have to imitate what He is doing. That is compassion. Christ gave compassion. What does it say when He came upon the leper? What does it say when He came upon someone who was sick? Someone that was blind, someone that was lame. A lot of times the verse says, and Jesus had what? Compassion on him. Listen. We, in our relationships with one another, whether it's with our friends or a dating relationship, we have to be Christ's character of compassion. If you don't have compassion for those that you care most about, your relationship is one-sided and it's often going to fail. Marriages today fail because of lack of compassion. A lot of times they don't care about anybody else but themselves. And here, I want to share with you something, the danger about compassion, okay, that people sometimes fall into. Many times we want a knight in shining armor. Girls, it's something fairy tale-ish that we that you might dream up, to be rescued by somebody, and the knight in shining armor that sweeps me away and rescues me from my situation and from and try to be the hero. And guys, a lot of times we like to be that knight in shining armor because it makes us feel good about ourselves, that we can rescue someone else from their situation. Understand, the danger about compassion is that compassion is not about rescuing someone from their circumstances. Compassion is suffering along the side of that person. Compassion is not about rescuing someone from their circumstances. It's about coming alongside and suffering with them. Girls, hear me out. It's a trap. It is a trap that you can fall into so many times that you feel like you can even sometimes create your own drama to make it feel like you've been rescued, and so you can live that fairy tale life. Girls, don't fall into that trap. Guys, girls will set things up for you to come in and feel like they need to be rescued, and you can come in and be hero. Listen, that's not compassion. Compassion is coming on the sides and suffering with them. So understand the differences there that you might have. Okay? Very, very important to understand about compassion. Compassion is key to making relationships last a lifetime. It can't be one-sided. It's got to be a two-way street. And is sometimes, are you going to be, is it a 50-50 deal? Listen, relationships are never a 50-50 deal. Marriages are not a 50-50 deal. Listen, relationships they take turns. Sometimes you have to pull away, and other times someone else is going to have to pull away. You have to have compassion for whatever circumstances that you're going through, and just pull away and say, you know what? I'm going to do what Christ wants me to do, and be compassionate. Number 2. Second key to making relationships last a lifetime is having wisdom. It's wisdom. So, well, I'm smart. I got a 4.0 in underwater basket weaving. I'm really smart. Guys, look. Here's the difference between being wise and being smart. Here's the difference between being wise and being smart. Anybody can study hard and make great grades. Anybody can do that. I'm making 4.0 in college, and I'm not a smart guy. Okay? But here's the idea. Wisdom is knowledge beyond what you're capable of understanding. Knowledge beyond what you're capable of understanding. And look at Proverbs 16:16 from the Message. It says, get wisdom. It's worth more than money. Choose insight over income every time. You have to make decisions carefully, okay? You have to know that, use wisdom to know if your relationship is right or if your relationship is wrong. You have to make a wise decision if this is something that God really wants me to have. Wisdom after God's own heart, having the passion and compassion, but knowing what God wants for your relationship, having the wisdom of God. Wisdom's important. Knowledge is great. Knowledge will take you places. It'll get you into a good college, and some colleges will even pay you for having knowledge. But wisdom is more than just having knowledge. Because I know a lot of smart people. I know a lot of smart kids that are stupid as all get out because they make stupid choices. They don't use wisdom at all. Wisdom tells you that they're heading for a road that they shouldn't be going on, and yet they're smart people, but make stupid choices. Wisdom avoids those stupid choices and makes wise choices for the future. Wisdom's important for any kind of relationships. You say, what do I need wisdom for? A person who seeks wisdom now will be very wise when it comes time for that, making that relationship and saying, is this the person that God wants me to be with for the rest of my life? That takes wisdom, not just knowledge. That takes more than just, my heart says this, therefore I follow. No, listen. My heart said the Jaguars were going to be 3-0 after 3 weeks, and the Jaguars are 1-2. Okay, my heart told me something that I wish was true, but in the end, my heart was not right. Jaguars are, on desperate need of wins right now. Understand? Wisdom would have told me that there were some tough games in there that they could lose. Wisdom says you don't take anything for granted. Wisdom says you make smart choices.